All right, Dana, thank you. Now, we reported last night on a developing story about Maine House Minority Leader Billy Bob Faulkingham facing fines from the state's Department of Labor. Today, Drew Peters, who's joining us here in studio, you dug a little bit deeper, Drew, into the DOL reports regarding that case, and you actually spoke with Representative Faulkingham. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for being here, Hannah. Yeah, I definitely did some digging. So Representative Faulkingham describes this as more of an experience for a young boy interested in lobstering rather than actual employment. But officers with the Department of Labor argue the representative made multiple violations when employing the minor during the summer of 2024.
It's very obvious that this is targeting myself for who I am.
House Republican leader Billy Bob Faulkingham accusing the state of weaponizing the Department of Labor against him.
There are 5,000 license holders, and never in the history of the industry has this violation been applied to a fisherman.
Claims that come as the Maine Department of Labor pushes to fine the representative and his lobstering business thousands of dollars for child labor violations in regards to a 14-year-old minor he allegedly employed in 2024.
This was more of an experience than even a work environment. He was my son's best friend. He came out on the boat 4 times in the summer. My son taught him how to band lobsters.
Faulkingham argues he was simply letting his son's friend tag along for the experience. But a report from DOL investigators says that the boy worked on 4 occasions for about 5 hours a day, hauling traps, baiting, and binding claws for around $80 to $140 a day. In doing so, they claim he illegally employed a minor in hazardous work and failed to keep time or wage records for the 14-year-old.
It's an absolute misunderstanding of the fishing industry and how these laws are applied.
Those findings allegedly came from initial reports made by Crash Berry, who describes themselves as an independent journalist. They claim in an article posted Saturday that they reached out to the Department of Labor in August of 2024 with a tip about the underage worker and other possible violations. Berry did not respond to requests for comment regarding their motivations for the report, but in the article, they say they were, quote, concerned with the 14-year-old finding himself in a situation he shouldn't be in.
There's a lot of trolls on the internet, but this decision was approved at the highest levels of our government. There's no way that this didn't come from at least the commissioner down.
After appealing his case in 2025, the hazardous work claim was dropped and fines were reduced from over $6,000 to nearly $3,500. But Faulkingham says he's still taking the DOL to court, refusing to accept violations he feels are being used to undermine his political career.
They think that some bad headlines put out there will be enough to shut me up and get me to shut up and be quiet. I won't do either.
Now, the governor's office did not respond to requests for comment about Representative Faulkingham's accusations, but they did refer me to the Department of Labor. In a statement from DOL staff, they said that they are unable to comment on specific cases, but, quote, when potential violations are reported, MDOL follows a standard process to investigate them. As part of that process, all parties are entitled to a hearing before an independent hearing officer and representation by legal counsel, end quote. Members of the House Democratic Party also shared a statement with News Center Maine. Representative Matt Beck saying that Representative Faulkingham has consistently voted to weaken Maine's child labor laws and, quote, given his long track record of trying to undermine labor protections, the violations uncovered by the Department of Labor are unfortunately unsurprising, end quote. And fishermen with the New England Fishermen's Stewardship Association are coming to the representative's defense, though. In a statement, they argue this action by the Maine DOL sets a dangerous precedent, writing in part, if the state begins penalizing fishermen for passing down their livelihood to children, it will have lasting consequences for the future of this fishery.
All right, Drew Peters in studio for us this evening. Thanks so much, Drew.
Thank you, Hannah.